Welcome to Mrs. Stott's 7th grade mathematics, Unit 1, Week 3 video review. Our topic for Unit 1, Week 3 is fractions, decimals, and percentages. They are related. When we look at a fraction like 5/6, it may not be easy to see right away what percentage of the whole this represents. It's actually just a few steps from this to the percentage that this fraction represents. Percents actually represent fractions or decimals, and actually the percent sign was made in ancient Rome. It was shorthand for per hundred, or as they would say it in Latin, per cento. Cento being hundred, so per cento, percentage. It's a short step from there to what we have today. Let's take a look at fractions or percents to fractions. By our definition of percento, we know that if we have a percentage of 25%, it means 25 per cento or 25 per hundred. So we know that 25% equals 25 over 100. To convert this percentage to a decimal, we just drop the percent sign. We have 25%. We're going to move our decimal over 2 to the left, and it becomes 25% equals 0.25. So 25% is 25 100ths. Oh my goodness, it's a full circle. If we have 38%, we would say it is 38 100ths, or we can eliminate our percent sign, move our decimal spot over 2, and get 0.38 or 38 100ths. Decimals to percents is just the reverse of what we just did. If we start with 0.25 or 25 100ths, we know it is 25 100ths because that's how you pronounce this decimal. So we know it is 25 100ths because this 5 is in the hundredths place. We know we have 25 per 100 or 25 per cento, 25%. The shortcut, of course, is the opposite of what we just did. We have 0.25. We're going to move our decimal point over 2 to the right, and it becomes 25%. If we have 0.55 or 55 100ths, we know it is 55 100ths, 25 per hundred, 25%. That would give us 55%. Of course, the shortcut, 0.55, 55 100ths, move our decimal spot over 2, gives us 55, and we add our percent sign, 55%. Fractions to percents is completely easy if you have a denominator that is 100. If you have 25 100ths, easy peasy. We know it is 25 per hundred, 25 per cento, 25%. It's a little trickier if you don't have 100 as a denominator. We know we want, let's say we have a fraction of 2/5. It's really ugly too, but 2/5. We know we want to have 100 on the denominator. We know that if we times 5 by 20, we can get that 100 on the denominator. But of course, whatever we do to our denominator, we have to do to our numerator to keep it equivalent. So we need to multiply 2 by 20, and that gives us 40 per hundred, 40 100ths, or 40 per cento. That gives us 40%. So 2/5 is 40%. Now it gets a little trickier if we cannot get a quick, easy way to get this 100 on our denominator. So let's say we have 5/6. 6 does not easily multiply into 100th on our denominator. I mean, we can, but we will be multiplying by some decimals ourselves. So let's just eliminate that step. We know that 5/6 can also be represented by a division problem, or 5 divided by 6. If we do the long division for 5 divided by 6, we know 6 can't go into 5, so we have our 0, we put our decimal point. We know 0 times 6 is 0. That gives us 5. We're going to bring down a 0. We know 6 times 8 is 48. It gives us left over 2. We're going to bring down another 0. 6 can go in there 3 times. 18. Oh, looks like we're going to get a repeating number. Yep. So we know that 5 divided by 6 is 0.833 repeating. If we move our decimal point over 2, we get 83.3 repeating. We know that we moved our decimal point to make our percentage, percento. So our decimal right here, 83/100ths with a 3 repeating. So we know that 5/6 is 83.3 repeating percent. I hope this has been a helpful review in fractions, decimals, and percentages. They are related.